Namaste Ji. Today, if I could just begin, there's a dear friend of mine, her grandmother transitioned. And so I'd just like to say a special blessing of love and remembrance, and for her memory to be a blessing, just as it was a blessing in the life that she lived. Her name was Sultana. So if we could just have a moment for Grandma Sultana. And we're sending our love and blessings to the whole family. Today, let us use this sacred time to lend our hearts and our meditative energies to stand together in unity for all of humanity, to help lift others up, to lift up the world, and indeed all of life on the earth and in the universe as a whole. The way to ultimate reality, the basic principle of the universe, the way of the universe that is shown in nature. In Taoist philosophy, like the proclivities of the mind, is the harmony of opposites. Soft can conquer hard, the weak can conquer the strong, and this is the harmony of yin and yang. And harmony can also be achieved through the creative but quiet of Wu Wei. Our spiritual preceptor, Swami Jnanamudrananda, spoke of this many times. It's non-action, or better put, effortless action. To not force or affect an outcome. It's to swim with the current of life, not against it. Now, the way of the Tao tells us that it can only get so dark before it will become light again. And just as we walk into a forest, we can only go so deep into the forest before we will walk out of the forest again. The way of the Tao naturally and will naturally recenter us whether we are actively participating or not. It is a springback effect of sorts. And no matter the bad karma that we have, if I can use a yoga term, the way of the Tao will bring us back to a center point or to a balance point. So what is this way of the Tao? It is to try and understand what the Tao of the universe means. To be in harmony with the natural order of everything. To be in harmony with the natural order of the universe as a whole. But very importantly, without resistance. Wu Wei, action without action, is an integral part of this concept. The Tao is a pathway of life. Not a total pathway of life, but just a pathway of life. It is a pathway of harmony in your life. Not a single track, not a law with boundaries, but simply a way. And this is because we are all beautifully unique. As humans, as a species, as an earth, everything is beautifully unique. So my path of harmony may not be the same as your path of harmony. And when I think of this, I think of my older sister, a wonderful, beautiful person, but we couldn't be any more different than we are. So her path of harmony will naturally be far different than my path of harmony. And I have different friends. I have friends of all different shapes and walks of life. And when I think about us together, some people I know would say, you hang out with him, or you talk to him or her? Well, of course I do. Of course, they're beautiful people. They just live their life in a different way. It doesn't make them immoral or sinful. They just have a different way of life than I do. And an important distinction of that is one no less important than mine. The future does not exist for us. It doesn't exist. It hasn't happened yet. Yet out of anything, that is the one thing that we worry more about than anything else. It is the mind's tendency to want to control things, to control the outcome of things, to control everything, really. And our dear Kriyananda spoke many times. One of his lectures, I remember him talking about controlling things in this way. And he talked about when you release the bowling ball, you no longer have control of it. Your release point is your release point, and it's just going to do what it's going to do after that. So in his, if you remember his laugh, he had a giggle in the lecture and talked about how people contort their bodies and twist and turn and try to shape the ball after it has already left their hand. It just doesn't work that way. It feels good maybe, but it just doesn't work that way. Kind of reminds me of, if you know Alan Watts, if I could paraphrase him, we're given the come on that there is a golden goodie coming at the end of the line. And I heard that line, I was like, wow, that's quite true. We do tend to forward think and get our mind away from the present and the moment. And I think he said something to the effect that we've been sitting in the middle of the golden goodie this whole time. We're sitting in the middle of the golden goodie right now. We're here together. Anybody who is watching online, they are here with us together. It's a wonderful, beautiful thing. So I think the takeaway from that, instead of extending our mind to the future, to just live like everything we're doing is the golden goodie. This is the golden goodie moment. And we tend to separate ourselves from the natural order of the universe and of nature. Separate ourselves from the beautiful path of Wu Wei. And it is this lack of presence or resistance to the true nature of things that leads the mind to fear, ill thoughts, and anxiety is one of those, the biggest things of the mind. Anxiety is a trigger point, so to speak, but it's not the anxiety that's the trigger point. It's our proclivity to escape the true quietude of the mind and try to shape the future before it has even happened. Sometimes, and many times, I've seen it in a debilitating way. Our own actions are always the appropriate response when done in the harmonic presence of nature, the universe, and on this topic, the presence of Wu Wei. It is effortless, compassionate way of being. It is not to think that what we're doing is right or wrong. There is, of course, boundaries to anything, and there should be in behavior. But to live in a way that we're just living in the natural order, like a river flowing around a rock, to live in this harmonic presence, it shouldn't even cross our minds. It'd be like just brushing our teeth. We just brush our teeth and we don't even think about it. It's just the way. And there should be little or no resistance at all when we go with this flow of nature. Water doesn't concern itself when it's moving around a rock. It just moves around the rock. We should see our decisions and the things that we do as being poetic, like a beautiful ballerina, the way they just dance, fully immersed in the oneness of the dance and what they are doing. There is no thought happening at all. If you've ever watched a ballerina or went to a ballet, it's just the most amazingly beautiful dance, if you will, that you see. And you can see that they are completely connected with everything that is. And being connected with everything that there is being connected to everything that was and everything that will be. It is this thread of the grand continuum that we have in the universe. So anything that we do, the way we go shopping, the way we walk, the way we teach yoga, the way we put on our shoes, it's just to live in this effortless way, which we shine, in which we can teach others around us who maybe have anxiety or have scattered thoughts, scattered mind, to help bring them back to their own, to the mind's own true nature of calmness. That placid state that lies deep within the mind, that is the center that is calm. But another important distinction, though, is if we are desiring this, though. To have this desire means that we already are not calm, because desires tend to bring about anxiety in anything that we do. So to be completely with this, to be completely with the way, we need to, or with anything, we need to reach this point of finding that inner balance point of the mind, that calmness within, without the need to feel or receive the fruits of our actions, which Kriya Yoga spoke of many times. It's just to do and just to live in the way. Be absorbed in the world. Be absorbed in everything that you do. When I was walking here today, I was absorbed in everything that was going on out there. It was wonderful. And when we get together in any fashion, and we've been getting together for thousands of years, we are social beings. In general, we become absorbed in the moment. We're no longer scattered. If you've been to a rock concert or an orchestra or anything of this nature, music is something that vibrates within us. And when you've been in this moment and have been in the crowd and everybody is chanting as one, or singing as one, or dancing as one, that is being fully absorbed in the moment. And this shadow part of it stays with us for quite a while after we leave whatever wonderful event we've been to. And we feel good the rest of the night. And we feel good because we were completely in the moment and absorbed. And even though externally it might have been like a rock concert or something that was very loud, it still shrunk us back into the calmness of the inner mind. We are completely alive in those moments. And time is never a concern in those moments. And time is of no concern at this moment. And as we're here, and as we're at the temple of Kriya Yoga, Kriya is a system which deals directly with the mind, its structure and its dynamics. And embodied within it is mystical psychology, which offers a profound recognition of how we create, sustain, and dissolve these circumstances of our life. Kriya is a way of self-study, self-attunement, which includes direct perception or insight into the nature of consciousness, the pattern of your mind, and life itself. Kriya Yoga embraces the perennial truths that prevail and pervade all of the world's mystical traditions, uniting diversity of cultural and historical expressions into a beautiful, harmonious science of the mind. It's a system for experiencing a transformation of consciousness, which enriches one's life on every level. Now, the fundamentals of Kriya Yoga is taught by Swami Jnanamudrananda. include striving to be a sage, not a saint, finding joy and wisdom in life, and realizing that there is no cookbook to life. No one all-encompassing recipe. Everyone is beautifully unique as we are. Therefore, seekers must find their own paths and determine what is helpful to them. And this is done by quieting the mind, softening the karma, and being truthful with oneself. And truth is truly something that is so overlooked in the quietment of the mind. And not just if we're telling the truth to somebody, but if we're telling the truth to ourselves. Truth is a part of the mind that can get away from us. Truth is that part that we're telling to ourselves in our everyday life. And this goes along with the path, with the way, and with everything that we do and being absorbed in life. Truth or untruth can bring about anxiety, truth or untruth in any fashion, internally and externally. So this is something I want to mention that we should be mindful of. We should all be mindful of. Love and presence and divinity, all of these things are very important, but I just have to stress this part, that truth needs to have its place in your day. And again, truthfulness with yourself and with others as well. In many ways, truth and the meaning and the way of being a vehicle of blessings and grace, and we should be a vehicle of blessing and grace and truth, is in general, we tend to look at one another as a function of what we do. But what is the function of what we do? A barista, a farmer, a Swami, a yoga instructor, a food server. I mean, there are so many different things in life. And one of Kriya Yoga's lectures about the priesthood or the Swamihood, he spoke of where's the priest while he's performing the daily functions of his own life. And I think I would ask, where are you while you are doing your daily functions? And not in a physical sense, but in a spiritual sense. Where's Robert? Where's Marion? Where's John? Where's Jane? When they're performing their daily functions. Your external and internal spiritual environments will always interact. It is very important to know what spiritual character is, not what you do, but who you are. Swamis, priests, rabbis, imams are not the sole providers or vehicles of blessings and grace. We are all vehicles of blessings and grace, each and every one of us. It is your own internal environment that will see its way to the light, regardless of what your external environment is, and regardless of the internal environment at the moment. Because we always have that opportunity to return ourselves to the inner portion of the mind, that beautiful calm area of the mind, which we can reach into and bring back out to help calm ourselves. Because our spiritual character will eventually rise and dissipate any of our inharmonious proclivities that do reside within in the outer shell of the mind. I am here, you are here, we're all here today to share in communion with spirituality. we're all here for the same reason. I found the Swamihood because I finally heard the internal call. Finally. But the call comes in many ways and forms. And it's divine energy that helps us to get out of our own way. And once we truly feel the divine call, we will and we do respond to life in a different way. The divine spiritual call can take many forms. It can lead us into many harmonious directions. And it is vital to heed or listen to these calls that we feel, that intuition, the call to the divine. But to also discover which form of it fits you. Not everybody can be or wants to be a Swami or a priest or a rabbi or an imam or a yoga instructor. But it's no less important to their own spiritual divinity. And whether it be a specific theology, the yogic path, or the path of the priesthood. And when I say path, I really mean you are or are not. There is no real path leading to somewhere. There is no golden cookie at the end of the path, as Alan Watts would say, or maybe even Yoda would say. It all has its karmic merits. What I'm simply saying is external forces can only work on you for so long before you can grasp your internal environment and have that recognition of your own path of spiritual divinity and grace, to the recognition and calmness of your mind that resides within, not from any one thing or activity that we do externally. Your very own transmission into a vehicle of blessings and grace, calmness of the mind. Once that choice has been made, will help you to naturally renunciate the things in your life which are harmonious. And just as any human, I had inharmonious internal and external things in my life. I helped to dissipate them long before I became a Swami, but they were there. It's because we are human and we are not perfect, and we are not living in a perfect realm. If we did, we would not be here. There would be no need to be here in a realm of perfection. But all these things will not, and they do not guarantee a life without hardships. But the calmness of the mind and being a vehicle of blessings and grace, it will help soften the hardships for you, as well as the people in your life that surround you. You can be a difference to everyone. And speaking mystically and karmically, when the seeds of grace are planted within us, they will sprout to fruition sooner or later. In my own case, I wish it would have been sooner. But you're always feeling that internal call. I think we all do. And it is our spiritual character, our intent. Not so much what we do and the activities that we do in life that make us who we are. The inside force, our spiritual character, always rules. Maybe not right now, but it is here, it is there, waiting for us to let the true nature of ourselves shine. The calmness of the mind, our divinity, our blessings of grace, our unconditional love. In most Eastern philosophies, Buddhism, Jainism, Taoism, Hinduism, is generally spoken of as correct behavior, all starting with the internal environment and Kriyananda spoke of this many times. What we think is what we say is what we do. So how do we keep our spiritual character? As we develop our spiritual character, it forms more stable environment within ourselves. And when our spiritual environment within ourselves becomes stable and balanced, it then becomes reliable, it then becomes more truthful. It starts to become more like the way of the Tao, the way of Wu Wei. And in that stability and in that reliability, it will help you to live a life of truth, of blessing, of grace. And it will help you to enjoy life too. It will help you to participate in life, not concerning yourself with a structure of guilt, but importantly, without giving into our inharmonious proclivities that could damage your own internal spiritual environment. It's not to renunciate life. Some people do, and that's okay. That's their way. But for us, it's to have a renunciation of the imbalances that hold us back. And when we encounter those imbalances in life, we are able to navigate them in a more harmonious way. We are able to navigate them in a more harmonious way. And if I could reach toward the ending point, I thought it would be very important to mention about the advancements that we have made electronically. We have went forward in many leaps, but in some ways we have went backwards, so to speak, internally. Too much electronic interference, social media, they've all kind of tended to numb us to a certain degree. Now, data is a wonderful, necessary component to understand things, and the advancements are welcome. It has many applications in our daily life, in science and physics, but there is one area where we are lacking, and that is our intuitive judgment. And that goes right back to the calmness of the mind. It is suppressing that part of the calmness of the mind as well, and it is shrinking that part of the calmness of our mind. And it's filling that space with more anxiety. And it is a skill or intuitive judgment that is lacking as we advance electronically. Because intuitive judgment does help us to calm that inner part of the mind and reveal our spirituality and our divinity and our grace. And it's something that we all carry within inside us. Helps to reveal wisdom. Helps us to be a better father, mother, husband, wife, and a friend to all of life. And yes, a beautiful vehicle of grace. If I could just say a universal blessing here to finish the day. Welcome to keep your eyes open or shut your eyes if you like. I'd like us all to visualize a sacred image within your heart. Let it be alive, living and radiant, and let it fill every cell of your being. Each petal of your mind with its living sacredness. Gradually let this image expand out through the pores of your body and let it fill the entire room and ultimately the entire universe. At this point, feel one with the universe. Feel that you are a part of it, not apart from its divinity and goodness. Let's hold this feeling for a moment. Let's radiate this feeling, sending forth a blessing to all life forms everywhere. Send forth the vibration of health, wealth, wisdom, calmness of the mind, divinity, grace, and love. Also radiate this physical and spiritual blessing to yourself, to your own mind, and to your own body. Sit quietly with this for just another moment. Feel this happiness, this joy, and the beauty of your own individual soul. Become absorbed in the simple tranquility of just existing. Let's inhale together one final time, taking in all the joy of existence. And on exhaling, radiate this joy back out into the universe. May all beings, may all sentient life in the known and unknown universe be happy and free, live in love, live in calmness, and may all of us be a blessing of divinity and grace. My deepest shantis to everyone. Namaste, Ji. Namaste, Ji.